It's not crazy for Indiana Hoosier fans to have a Big Ten title run on their Christmas lists.
You are Locked On Hoosiers, your daily podcast on the Indiana Hoosiers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in. It is the Locked On Hoosiers podcast. I'm your man, Jacob Goins. Thank you so much for making Locked On Hoosiers your first listen each and every day. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, which is your team every day. Yeah, I said it, and I mean it. It's not crazy for you Indiana fans to have a Big Ten title run on your Christmas list for Indiana men's basketball. That's what we're talking about today. Merry Christmas, everybody. Hope you're doing well. I hope you had a fantastic holiday and a very, very Merry Christmas with you and your family. I got to spend some downtime. Whatever the case may be, I just hope you had a wonderful Christmas, okay? And thank you so much for being here. Shout out to the everydayers. You're the reason that we get to do this. We do it every day, and you're here every day, and we're very, very thankful for that. If you're on YouTube, be sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel. We continue to grow, folks. Let's get to 2,000 subscribers, huh? How about that? For a Christmas gift, we can get there before the new year. Why not? Let's see what we can do. So if you're on YouTube, be sure you subscribe on there. It means a lot to me. And if you're on any of your audio podcasting platforms, you can subscribe on there as well. And be sure you turn on notifications to where you know when new episodes go live. 3 things on Indiana Hoosier fans' Christmas list. That's what we're talking about today. And yeah, I think a Big Ten title run should have been on your Christmas list yesterday. Did Santa bring you one? I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see, but we'll talk about why on the show today. Also, getting healthy and staying healthy. That should be on all of our Christmas lists for 2023 going into 2024, and having some excitement come around the springtime for the football side of things. That's what we are talking about today. And the first one is on your Christmas list, right? You were sitting down, you're sitting in front of the fire, you're writing your letter to Santa. Dear Santa, this is what I want for Christmas in 2023. How about a Big Ten title run for the men's basketball team? And I think it can happen. I really, really do. Because look, I think the talent is there. I don't think anybody can deny that, right? I don't think anybody can deny the talent on this team. I know there are 10 new faces. I know that it maybe hasn't been the best start to non-conference play. You do have those 2 Big Ten wins, but the first couple of months haven't been a whole lot of fun, right? They've been stressful, been very, very stressful. So I still believe in this team because I think talent speaks very large here. And with conference play, it's very special because you get the chance to really learn what this team is and what any basketball team is, really. That's where you find out who's for real and who's not, right? Who is built like a true title contending team and who's not. And this Big Ten conference is going to be brutal, right? I've talked about how it's going to eat itself alive. I've talked about how I believe the Big Ten come Selection Sunday may not be overly impressed because I don't know how many teams are going to make it into the NCAA tournament. But I think the Hoosiers can make a run in the regular season and in the Big Ten tournament because you start looking around who has the depth that Indiana does. And I know it hasn't been great as of late, but they can develop that. And the development of Anthony Walker, the oncoming of Anthony Walker already in the past couple of weeks has been really, really promising. And we're going to get to the get healthy, stay healthy conversation, but that has a huge part in this, right? If you can get Xavier Johnson back running the point, then you get to bring a confident Gabe Cupps off the bench. Maybe he starts to score a little bit in that point. Maybe he starts to get that shot worked out because he's got to get it worked out. But if he comes off the bench with less expectations, right, less stress of I'm the point guard, I have to run the offense and God forbid turn the ball over, right? I think a confident Gabe Cupps and a less stressed Gabe Cupps is a big, big part in this as well. But having a sixth-year point guard would be huge to make a Big Ten title run. Now, you've got to get through the regular season first, right? You've got to get through what's going to be a tough regular season that includes just some really, really tough games for this Indiana team. I mean, you start looking at Nebraska, home for Ohio State. You've got 3 games in a row. We've mentioned these. As of this time, right? As of right now, we'll just say this. Number 1, Purdue, top 25, Wisconsin, top 15, Illinois. Those are 3 games in a row, right? But those are teams you have to beat in the regular season, in the Big Ten tournament, and in the NCAA tournament if you're lucky enough to get there. You still have to play Ohio State and Purdue again. You have to beat and play Northwestern, a team that already has beaten Purdue this season. You play Wisconsin again, and you end the year with Michigan State. Now, I think there are multiple winnable games on this schedule. And to make a Big Ten title run, you've got to have some big wins. You have to have some good wins to get a good seed line and then make a run in March. That's just what you have to do. But I think it can happen. I really do. I think if everything can come together and this team can find its flow, find really its rotation, I guess, but that's not the word I'm looking for, right? Find its identity. There we go. Find its identity for what makes them a successful basketball team. Because once you hit the conference play, there's no experimentation. There's no changing it up. There's no, hey, let's try this out and see what happens. No. You better figure out who you are and what you have to do to be the best version of yourself. I feel like Indiana can do that if they just come out with that intensity each and every time. And if they do that, there is no reason that the Hoosiers cannot make a Big Ten title run, and you should have that on your Christmas list. Because you know what? Do we always get everything we put on our Christmas list? No. Do we always put a little something in there that may be a little absurd just to see if it happens, just to see if Santa comes through? Well, how about we put this on there and see if he comes through? And more importantly, we'll see if Mike Woodson and Indiana basketball come through. If they can make a run at the Big Ten championship, I've got it on my Christmas list, and I think you should have as well. Well, coming up here on the show, we're going to continue with our Christmas list top 3. What else should Hoosier fans have on there? I think you should put on there get healthy and stay healthy. And that goes for the girls' side and the boys' side, men and women's teams. We'll talk about coming up in just a second on Locked On Hoosiers. Welcome back into Locked On Hoosiers. I appreciate you making this your first listen each and every day. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, which is your team every day. I'm your man, Jacob Goins. Be sure to follow me on X at Goins2Jacob. You can follow the show as well. We're trying to grow on there as well, trying to get that up and running some more. So be sure you follow that at Locked On Hoosiers on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, right? Be sure that you go and follow on there as well. Like the video on YouTube. Please subscribe to the channel. We continue to grow towards 2,000. And if you're on your podcasting platforms, we're free and available wherever you get your podcasts. So be sure that you check that out as well. Another thing that Hoosier fans should have on their Christmas list from yesterday and from this whole Christmas season, right? Hey, we still got Christmas going on. Just because the day is over doesn't mean the Christmas holiday, the Christmas time is over, right? I got family. We do Christmas multiple days after the holiday, so it's still fine to have an updated Christmas list. I think one thing that should be on there that plays into what we were just talking about with possibly making a Big Ten title run. One thing that has to happen for Indiana basketball, they've got to get healthy, right? They have to get this team to full strength. And thankfully, it doesn't seem like the Malik Reneau injury stuff has really held him back all that much, right? He was dealing with some of the back issues, and it doesn't seem like that is really holding him back. Doesn't seem like it has done a whole lot. Now, I know it can't be comfortable by any means, but he looks okay, is what I'm trying to say. He looks okay, and that doesn't seem to be as big of an issue. But as we've said before, back issues, and if you had those, you know that they're no joke. I mean, they're just not. They're nothing to mess around with. They're very easy to re-aggravate. And so getting healthy is huge here. And the obvious piece to that is Xavier Johnson, bringing him back into the lineup. And look, there are so many different opinions on Xavier Johnson from this Indiana fan base. There are a lot of people that are huge fans of him that say this Hoosiers team desperately needs him. He has to be back on the floor. We're not going to win without him. There's also some people that are like, well, I think Gabe Cupps has done a decent job and let him continue to run it, and let's not rush X back. There's also people in the camp of, I mean, what did we do with X in the game anyway? Like how good was Indiana's offense when he was playing? It wasn't all that much better. So who cares if he comes back? I think that's the wrong approach. Personally, I think that's the wrong approach to take here. This team is better with their 6th-year starting point guard, with their 6th-year senior who's played college basketball for a long time. This team is better when he is on the floor. This team is better when he is running the offense and leading the defense too. And just his leadership factor, folks. You're telling me if Xavier Johnson doesn't play, Indiana doesn't pull that upset against Kansas. You're telling me that if Xavier Johnson doesn't play, you don't have that poor performance against Morehead State where you come out just completely flat. I know we saw that happen at times early in the season, but I think he would have been the difference there. I think he would have changed that. And honestly, he just gives you another offensive threat, right? I mean, he's not going to go off for 50 points or anything, but he's at least somebody that the defense has to respect on that end of the floor and say, look, we have to guard him because he can score. He can shoot. He can get to the basket. He can finish at the rim. And he's good at getting fouled and can step to the free throw line where he's a pretty dang good free throw shooter. So if nothing else, he's at least another threat on the floor, and nothing against Gabe Cupps. I love the kid. His energy is really great. His mentality is wonderful. I heard him talk after the Auburn game there in Atlanta and just took a lot of responsibility for this team and the effort and the execution. He's a really, really well-spoken young man. He's just not an offensive threat. His shot is not good right now. It doesn't look all that great. I mean, it's very inconsistent, very uncomfortable at times. We've seen highlights of that, right? We've seen some glimpses, if you will, of what Gabe Cupps can do offensively. But, man, there's just not a whole lot of scoring threat most of the time. And defenses know that. Game planning knows, like the coaches know that about Gabe Cupps. They just understand that, okay, we can focus our attention on Trey Galloway, or we can focus our attention on Anthony Walker when he's in. And more importantly, they put all their focus on Kel'el Ware, Malik Reneau, and Mackenzie Mbako. And that hurts Indiana. It does. It hurts Indiana. You've got to get Xavier Johnson back on the floor, back in the game, and back in your starting lineup. That will also give you depth, right? Because we all trust Gabe Cupps. We all trust Cupps to come in and be a responsible point guard, to not turn the ball over and make the right decision more times than not. So that'll give you a little bit of depth, because now when he's going to the bench, you're having to bring in guys that I don't think Mike Woodson fully trusts yet. And they haven't done anything for us to trust them. So you are limiting yourself on that part as well. On top of getting healthy, you've got to stay healthy, man. And that should be on every college basketball team's Christmas list this year, is we want to stay healthy as much as possible. And I'm sure a lot of you are saying, well, duh, everybody wants to stay healthy. Nobody wants to get hurt. Well, exactly. It's a very easy ask, but it's something that's very hard to do, because how many times have we seen good, great, average basketball teams get ruined because of injury? This Indiana team knows, right? This Indiana program knows that. We've seen this numerous times in the past. Getting healthy is one thing. Staying healthy is another thing. And it's just, look, I'll say it this way. Let's play the what if game, right? Let's play the what if game. What if Kel'el Ware goes down with an injury? Where do you put this team? Where's your confidence in this team to win some basketball games? Pretty low, right? What if Malik Reneau gets hurt, right? You start losing a lot of confidence. Mackenzie Mbako, maybe not as much, but if he continues to get better and play better every game, then yeah, he's a huge X factor for this team. Trey Galloway, if he starts playing like he has been, if he goes down, or if you just can't get Xavier Johnson fully healthy, like this team is limited to what they can do if they don't stay healthy. And the fact that you're playing a dang near 6-man rotation, injuries are crucial and they are killers to this team if that happens. So how do you prevent that? You have some depth. You run guys and you don't let guys play 35 minutes. You don't let guys go out there and just get banged around in Big Ten play. We know it's physical. We know it's going to be tough in this conference. We see it every year. You got to get them conditioned right. You got to run them the right way. You have to play them the right way. And honestly, a little bit of it's just pure luck and prayer. That's all it is. And so, look, ask Santa for that. Ask him, say, look, man, we just got to stay healthy. The potential for this team is really high, but we just got to stay healthy, man. Please don't let us get hurt. Please let us have a good season so we can make that Big Ten title run that Jacob talked about, and that way when people call him crazy in December, he can come back in March and say, told you so. I don't know, man. I hope so. But that should also be on your Christmas list. Get healthy and stay healthy for Indiana men's basketball and women's basketball too, man. If Mackenzie Holmes goes down, it's over. I mean, that's still a good team, but we all know how special she is. So that can't happen. That should be on your Christmas list every single year for whatever team you're rooting for, whether it be Indiana basketball or whether it be the Lakers or whether it be the Dodgers or whatever. I don't care. Whatever team you're cheering for, that ought to be on your wish list. Let's get healthy and let's stay healthy this season. Well, coming up, we'll wrap up our show today with the final thing I think you should have on your Christmas wish list as an Indiana Hoosier fan. How about some excitement in the springtime around this football program in Bloomington? We'll talk about that coming up in just a second on Locked On Hoosiers. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. What brings home the winning trophy is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. From superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more, whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Welcome back into Locked On Hoosiers, your first listen every day. I appreciate you making that so. We're a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, which is your team every day. Be sure you check out Locked On Sports Today. Be sure you're checking out all of our great hosts in college basketball, our Locked On College Basketball show. Andy and those guys and Isaac do a wonderful, wonderful job over on Locked On College Basketball. So be sure that you go and check them out. We're also going to be doing crossovers throughout Big Ten play, as many as we can with the opponents that the Hoosiers will be playing for basketball. So really excited to do that. And then I'm hoping that we can make it a consistent thing with some of these other hosts as well. So be sure that you go and check all of them out. The third and final thing I think that Hoosier fans should have on their Christmas list here in the holiday season. How about some excitement around the spring football window, right? Around spring practice, the spring game and all that stuff with Curt Cignetti and this Indiana football team. I think there should be some excitement there. And I think you should want that because it's a first-year head coach. And you see this all over the place. You see this all over college football with early signing day that just wrapped up right last week. You have the transfer portal that's been wide open, and we know what Indiana's done there. We know they signed a bunch of James Madison guys. They signed a few quarterbacks too, did they not? Lots of excitement there. Now you flip the page to, all right, spring ball, right? What does this team look like with a new head coach, a new coaching staff, and a bunch of new players? It really is a question mark. It really is. We don't really know what this team is going to look like. But I think while I'm not saying, and I'm not talking about expectations here, right? Because to be honest, I don't know what those expectations should be. And expectations from a fan base can really kill the momentum of a program because everybody wants to win and win now. They want it now, 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 now. That's just the society that we live in. That's just the times of the day, right? And so one is the best way I can say this. One good thing about us here with Indiana football is the expectations aren't crazy high yet. I think they can be. And down the road, I think they probably should be. But given what we've seen over the past 10 years, right, it just hasn't been all that. So instead of saying, first year head coach, we expect 8 or 9 wins and we want to compete in the Big Ten. Well, let's slow down a little bit, right? Let's slow down on that. And how about instead of saying that, let's say, you know what? How about some excitement and some buzz around this program here in Bloomington, in the state of Indiana, and across the Big Ten, and hopefully across college football, right? Wouldn't it be nice once the spring window closes and you have, the transfer portal that's opened back up and you see some guys possibly leave, and hopefully not, right? But we'd love to see some additions, right? You can always add more. And how nice would it be that after spring practice, right, and you have the spring games and you have all that gets taken care of, wouldn't it be nice for some of, not just us that cover Indiana every day, but some of those national outlets to say, man, look at what's happening at Indiana. Keep an eye out on Bloomington now. They may have an exciting season coming up this year. Or, look at the work they've done so far. A starting quarterback may be announced or something, right? Maybe a breakout star in the spring. Just something exciting, something new. And you want to hear positive comments from the new head coach, Curt Cignetti. You want to hear the players talk about the atmosphere changing and the environment changing and the culture changing, right? We hear that word a lot in college football. Those are the things I think we should be wishing for. Those are the things that I think can carry us through the summer when it comes to college football in this Indiana program with a new head coach and a bunch of new players. Give us something to be excited about. And I think we're going to get that. I think we already have that. I think we already have that. But then the spring is where it really starts to get down, because obviously Indiana not going through any bowl practices right now. In the spring will be the first time we get everybody on the field. And I think that's where you can really get the fan base bought in. You can get people back to this program. I think you've probably lost some over the last few years, and maybe not lost them forever, but lost them because of the previous regime. And look, I get it. I understand. So that's what I'm looking for. And I think Hoosier fans should wish for that. I think you'll get that. And then you never know. You never know what happens in the summer and getting into the fall. But that's a long way from now. To wrap up your Christmas list, a Big Ten title run for Indiana men's basketball, getting healthy and staying healthy for all Indiana athletics, and wishing for some excitement in the spring football period for Curt Cignetti and Indiana football. That's what I think you should have on your Christmas list. That's what I have on mine. Would love to hear some of yours and see some of yours as well. Again, Merry Christmas. I'm so thankful that you're here. So thankful for this wonderful community and family that we've built in a very short time on this program and on this show and on this podcast. If you're on YouTube, like the video, subscribe to the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. You can also turn on notifications wherever you get your podcast, because again, we're free and available wherever you want to go, on Spotify, Apple, Google, YouTube, of course, the video and audio version. So be sure you're doing that, because we're posting a lot here, even around the holidays, man. We're committed. We got to do it. We want to do it. And we're happy that you're here and a part of it as well. So we'll have some more episodes coming out this week. Stay tuned. Some fun episodes coming up the rest of this week. Again, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to all of you. Stay safe with all the weather and everything going on. So just look, I'm thankful for you. I'm thankful that you're here. I'm thankful for this opportunity to be with you as the host of Locked On Hoosiers. Stay tuned. We'll have a whole lot more coming up this week here on the show. Follow us on X at Locked On Hoosiers as well. And as always, Hoosier fans, until next time, stay safe, and I'll talk to you later.